Hi, welcome back to Simply Fujica, a place for budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. If you are new to this channel, I want to thank you for tuning in. My name is Fujica, and I serve this community as a business mentor. I also help people achieve getting their licenses so that they can open their non-medical home care agencies. If this is not your first time here, I would ask that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification so that you're notified every time I drop a new video. Today I have a great video for you guys today. Today we're discussing how do you actually develop your pricing strategy. And actually this conversation came about as a result of a consultation client that I had with one of my clients. And I think like many of you, when you're initially, just like anyone else, initially you want to make sure that you're going into a business that's going to be profitable for you, especially because this is a business, and especially in the state of California, it does cost $5,600, a little over $5,600 to get your license. And so you want to make sure that this is an investment that you are going to see a return, and you want to make sure that if you're putting that sweat equity in terms of building your business and standing up your business, you want to make sure that this is something that's going to be profitable for you. And so you want to make sure that as you're creating what that pricing is looking like, you're not pricing yourself so high that you're pricing yourself out of the market, but you're not pricing yourself so low that you're not making a profit. And so that's what this video is about, creating that sales, or actually creating that pricing strategy to ensure that you're profitable yet competitive. So if that's something that you're interested in, then stay tuned. So the first tip that I have for you today is solidify your services. And what I mean by that is a lot of your clients are going to require overnight services. And so you do hear that a lot. We offer 24/7 services. And so that sounds good, but what does it take to actually offer that as a service? And what I mean by that is, what does that cost you as the owner to offer that as a service? So are those 2 home care aides that are offering that 24-hour service? Is that 2 people offering that service? Is it 3 home care aides offering that service? So are we looking at 3 home care aides working 8-hour shifts to ensure that one person is cared for 24 hours? Does that look like 2 home care aides working 2 12-hour shifts in order for that person to make sure that that person is taken care of for 24 hours? These are the types of questions that you have to ask yourself. And so once we take that thought a little bit further, anybody who's working 8 hours, we know that's straight pay. But once they go over that 8-hour shift, then there's time and a half, right? And then anything over 12 hours is double pay, right? So this is where you start saying, okay, wait a minute, if I'm paying them double pay, and if I have to bring a second person into this equation, I've got to pay them too. How much is this client paying me? Or better yet, how much does this client need to pay me in order for me to start making money over and above what I need to pay the caretakers in order to ensure that the service is taken care of? And this is, remember a couple of videos back, I talked to you about having some type of legal service. Remember, I talked about having a legal shield or some type of legal representation if you don't have an attorney. This is why I suggested that, because you want to make sure that you're in compliance with the wage laws in the state for which you work. It's really easy to step out of bounds, whether or not you intend to. So you always want to make sure that you know, what does overtime look like? What does double time look like? When do you have to pay lunches, breaks, all of those things? You want to make sure that your agency is in compliance as it relates to all of those laws. The second tip that I have for you is you want to know who your customer is. Now, really guys, one thing that I want to throw in here is, I'm going to sell this again. This is something that I talk about a lot and I'm going to say it again here, is I really recommend before you go into this business that you create a business plan. Now guys, I have done a video on this, so I will make sure that this is included in as a card above here, and I will make sure it's included in the additional resources in the video description. But by you doing a business plan, A lot of the things that I'm talking about in this video, you would have already addressed by doing the research necessary for starting up your business. So part of that is, who is your customer? It's not only who is your ideal customer, but it's more so, what is the income of your customer? Because again, you can charge $5,000, and I'm just throwing a number out there, but you can charge $5,000 all day. But if your person only has $3,000 in hand ever to spend, that person automatically is never going to be your customer. So you have to understand who your customer is and what their income is, right? To understand what kind of services you can offer to them, right? And so this is what I mean by that. And so again, how do you know who your customer is, or how do you know what that income of your customer is? Guys, a quick Google search. You know, me and Google, we're always going to be friends. It's really going to Google and understanding what is the median income of a person who lives in Rosemead, California. It could be something so simple. And you get those, you get that information, and you make that information work for you, because then you can really break down your services. That person may not be able to afford overnight services for you, but can they afford companion services? Can they afford your homemaking services? This is going to help you craft your suite of services for your home care agency. The third and final tip that I have for you today is know what your competition is charging. Now, I will say this, you're going to have to really get crafty with this. Most people, if you call them and look for a rate of pay, listen, they're not going to be so apt to just sign over that information, okay? Because this is a competitive market. But you are going to have to get crafty in terms of understanding what your competition is charging for their services. Now, I will tell you, a lot of times your customers or your potential clients can do that heavy lifting for you. As you start getting phone calls, as people are starting to inquire about your services, don't be afraid to ask those certain questions. I will use myself as an example as it relates to consultations. People will call me all the time and they will share with me, hey, I reached out to so-and-so, I reached out to this other person, and they charge this and they charge that. You know, this is how I know, and I feel good about what I charge as a consultant because of what my customers tell me. And so don't be afraid to ask. The conversation is open when people start sharing that information for you. So I did share with you at the top of this video that I spoke with a client, and a conversation I had with her really inspired me doing this video with you. But another conversation that I had with a separate client also inspired this conversation. You know, I spoke with someone who has been doing business for a number of years, has really been able to convert a lot of the clients that contacts her agency. But she was able to share with me she's not making the type of money that she would like to make. And this is another reason why I decided to do this video. Guys, remember, this is your ship. And so you dictate a lot of that. So you want to make sure that you are clear up front with what you will and will not do. And something you really want to be clear about is what you charge. Okay, so that is my bit of advice for you today. As always, I'm so thankful for you continuing to support my channel. I will continue to support you the best that I can, and that's by putting together these videos. If you do, however, need additional support, you can always reach out to me by email. You can always reach out to me at simplyfujica@yahoo.com. And we are constantly revising the website at simplyfujica.com. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed today's content. Best of luck to you guys out there. Stay blessed.